Hi, Roy here. Roy Reads Anything, and I'm going to do a tag. This is the Think Twice tag, created by AJ Dunn Reads and Writes and Bookworm Adventure Girl, and I was tagged by Criminally. So, jumping straight in to the prompts. Double Vision, a book that features twins. Okay, I'm going to say Gormenghast, Mervyn Peake's Gormenghast books. There are at least three of them, and it features two twins called Cora and Clarice, who I remember as being partly sinister and partly sympathetic. If you've not read Gormenghast, it's like uber gothic, amazing fantasy, but it's nothing like a medieval quest fantasy, for instance. It's got this world, appears to be an entire world that is one gigantic castle. So, yep, Gormenghast has twins in it. Number two, Double Talk, a book with two or twice in the title. Well, just read A Tale of Two Cities. Definitely two there. Lots of two things in it, sort of doubled up characters and stuff like that. So, yep, really enjoyed that. So, looks like two is a good thing. Seeing Double, a book with a reflection, shadow, or mirror image on the cover. Okay, so when I was growing up, I'll have to conjure up a picture of this, or I won't. Near future editor Roy will conjure up a picture of the book I'm talking about, because that guy's got loads of time. So, yeah, growing up, more Tales of an Antiquary, I think. Was it more Ghost Stories of an Antiquary by M.R. James? Pan paperback, had a rather terrifying image of a frightened looking man with a hand around his throat, and in the background there's a mirror with a figure in it, like trying to get out of the mirror. So, definitely citing that as being a mirror image cover. Take two book covers that look similar but are by different authors. Struggled with this one, but here we have two books in the Jubal series, and the similarity of the paintings is quite striking, because it almost looks as if it's the same painting with like a couple of minor adjustments. Perhaps they hadn't. Perhaps Chelsea House hadn't paid the bill for the first one, so the artist just gave them the same picture again. You might be saying, but that's the same author. As it happens, it isn't. Charles R. Pike was a house name. Not sure who wrote number 5, but number 11 was written by Ken Bulmer. So that's the best I can do on that. Okay. 5, I second that, a retelling. Well, right now I'm reading I, Dracula by D.S. Crowe. I guess you will have figured out it's a retelling of Dracula from the point of view of the title character. And based on what I've read so far, really good, so probably say more about that in a future video. Two can play at that game, a character who plays two roles or has an alter ego. Well, what about the Shadow, crime-fighting pulp character from the 1930s? Not only is he the Shadow and also Lamont Cranston, I'm pretty sure Lamont Cranston himself has a sort of alter ego as well. So there's doubling all over the shop there. The Shadow. Number 7, It Takes Two, a duology. Not easy, so a bit of a boring answer. I'm going to say that Lewis Carroll's two Alice books, Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass. There are others, I just haven't read them, really. Peter Pan, is that one of the two Peter Pans? In which case, Peter Pan also. On the double, a book told in two timelines. Well, how about The 13th Tale by Dianne Setterfield, which I remember with great fondness as something I really couldn't put down. And I bought a more recent book by her really recently. So yeah, that's my 2 timeline book. A Perfect Pair. The last 2 books you gave 5 stars to. Okay. Tarzan and the Battle for Pellucidar by Winscott Eckert is one. So I've read an awful lot of Tarzan sequels by other hands, you know, after the Edgar Rice Burroughs ones. This is one of the best, if not the best. It's Tarzan at the Earth's core fighting Nazis. So kind of what's not to like, and it's also part of a big sort of super arc that the Edgar Rice Burroughs Inc. are doing with all of the Burroughs characters and some new characters as well. So there's the extra bonus. It's in a kind of Burroughs universe. And The Red Man and Others by Angeline B. Adams and Remco van Straten, which is a sword and sorcery book. Modern sword and sorcery book, collection of linked stories. And if you're thinking, sword and sorcery, it will just be some alpha male in a fur diaper with some sort of fainting wenches. This is not that kind of sword and sorcery. It's kind of a fresh take, and yet true to the mighty feud tradition of the genre. So that's my other most recent 5-star. Right, number 10, Two for the Show, a book that's been adapted to film 2 or more times. I'm going to say A Woman in White. Seen a bunch of adaptations in that. Probably liked a BBC version from the 80s most of all, but they're all interesting. So, A Woman in White. Two's Company, a book with 2 or more authors or a translated fiction book. Okay, well, I'm going to wheel out one of my occult detectives now. Flaxman Low was written by Kate and Hesketh Prichard, and they were a mother and son writing team. I'm not sure how normal that is to happen, but yeah, cut that bit out. Double take, recommend 2 books you think would pair well together and tell us why. Okay, I'm going to have 2 books by the same author, Michael Moorcock, and I'm going to say Stormbringer and The Final Programme. So these are both pretty early Moorcock books, both kind of classics. Why I'm recommending them together, 2 reasons. Firstly, if you're curious about Michael Moorcock, it's a great place to start because you're getting his kind of sword and sorcery fantasy side with the Elric novel, that's Stormbringer, and you're also getting his more playful literary side with The Final Programme, which is a Jerry Cornelius novel. And both of those, there's plenty more to read if you like either or both of them. And the other reason is one is a sort of adaptation of the other. So he kind of decided to take the Stormbringer story and do a version of that set in contemporary settings in a kind of satirical version of a super spy sort of science fictional milieu. So yeah, and in so doing created another iconic character, Jerry Cornelius. So The Final Programme was made into a movie. I'm wearing the T-shirt of the poster of the movie, which is unfortunately about the best thing about it. The opening 2 minutes are pretty good as well. But better to read the book, as is often the case. That's it. I've done the 12 prompts. I'm just going to tag one channel back away from the donkey, aka Baft Books. Might like to have a go at this, but do have a go if you fancy it yourself. So there you go. 222. See you next time. Bye.